Alright, so we're looking for a match right now, and we are currently at 7,591 trophies. It's been a few days since my last push with 3.0 Xbow Cycle, which was top 500, as we find our match against what looks to be a Japanese player, and gonna give him the good luck. And so my goal today is gonna be to get to 7,700 trophies, which will be top 1,000, because it has been quite a while, so ranks have gone up. And so I'm gonna split archers and play my skeletons like this, and log the Dark Prince back as well to make sure it doesn't hit my tower. And so it's looking like Dark Prince Goblin Cage, most likely going to be either Electro Giant or Golem. And also take note of my skeletons placement just now, which let me tank 2 hits from the Dark Prince instead of just 1. So there are always ways to get value from your skeletons, you just have to know the placements. And so Bomber does kind of confirm it's going to be E-Giant because, okay, Electro Spirit actually makes it a little weird now. Just going to split my archers again. And against Goblin Cage, notice how I put a Tesla up, which is usually a play that I like to make, since anything else would kind of feed it. He's going to go for Dark Prince, I'm going to go for an Xbow right now. There is kind of a rule against Electro Giant or even Golem, and unfortunately E-Giant does come down in time, but I'm going to place my Tesla, and notice how it's 2 tiles down from the river. And so this is the placement that you're going to want to use to hit the E-Giant while it's on your Xbow, or hit anything else while it's on your Xbow. If your Tesla is 3 tiles down from the river, it's not going to hit anything at the bridge on your Xbow, unless you place the Xbow on the very inward tile placement. So you want to play it a bit higher so that it can start DPSing down the E-Giant instantly. And so you'll notice that it wasn't even a big deal that the E-Giant got on my Xbow, and we do kind of find out that it's going to be Electro Giant. I'm going to cycle back to an Xbow right away since we did just kind of outcycle the Electro Giant. And most E-Giant decks run Lightning as well right now, so my opponent's most likely going to have a Lightning here, as it does come down. I'm just going to go archers to finish off the Goblin Brawler, and I'm going to play them early and go for a Knight in front as well, and Electro Spirit to predict the Bomber, since Bomber would probably be the best response to this kind of push. And Dark Prince comes out, so I'm going to log it back to hopefully get my Knight on tower. So this is just some single elixir pressure. Unfortunately, Knight does not get on tower, but I'm going to go for an Xbow again, because we are kind of spreading our opponent thin right now. As you can see, he didn't even have enough for an E-Giant, and so my Tesla comes down, and again the same placement where it's hitting the E-Giant while it's on my Xbow. 1 tile lower wouldn't do it, and we do get a connection because we caught him low in elixir. So Archer Queen, the way we're going to want to deal with Archer Queen is most likely just going to fireball it back. Well, he did just use the ability though, so I can just go Knight instead. But usually you either want to fireball the Queen back, or tank for it with a Knight like I did just now, or deal with it before it even crosses the bridge. That's another way. And so he's going to go for an E-Giant in the back, going to go for an Xbow right away, because that is 8 elixir down the drain. And also probably the best counter to Xbow in my opponent's deck would be the E-Giant, and it's gone. So I'm going to go for a fireball now. Archers are hitting the Queen, and ability does pop, but it pops way too late. I'm going to go E-Spirit to predict the Bomber, and I'm going to have to go for a Knight to DPS down this E-Giant, and I am all the way back to another Tesla. So Lightning also comes out. Going to log and get some really good log value in both the E-Giant and the Bomber. And we are doing perfectly fine. We have a huge damage lead by about 1,600 damage right now, and we can just chill out. My opponent's going to go for an E-Giant, but we have such a fast cycle with this Xbow Cycle deck, we can just cycle back to a Tesla. And notice this Tesla placement is 1 tile more to the left than the middle, and that is kind of just to pull the E-Giant as far as possible, because you really can. E-Giant just has such a long kite range, and since my opponent cycled the Dark Prince in the back, I can go for an Xbow since I also have a Knight surviving. Fireball the Queen back as with before, although I think it's going to survive with 1 HP, which is a bit unfortunate, but we still get log chip on the tower, and we still have a really sizable lead, so nothing to complain about right now. Gonna go E-Spirit to pressure with this Archer as well, and my opponent chooses to ignore it, which is like 500 damage or so right there, so don't agree with the decision by my opponent there. Then again, he just used Bomber. Maybe he wanted to use Bomber for that. Gonna split my archers and go for an Xbow, and it looks like my opponent might have given up now, since he's not playing anything into my Tesla. Gonna give him the good game, and a pretty nice win against E-Giant for the first match here. So pretty simple matchup. Actually, a lot of people think E-Giant counters Xbow, but it's actually the other way around most of the time, just because of the fact that it operates much differently than Golem. So that's going to put us at 7,618 trophies, top 1,240 in the world. Let's keep it going, as we just reached Royal Arena. I meant Royal Champion League, as in the blue league that's on my ladder arena right now, but yeah, 7,600 trophies. Gonna search for the next match, and queue time is getting kind of bad now that we're getting close to top 1k. last players. So we did find it against a Japanese player now, and okay, looks like my connection is lost, but I still have Wi-Fi, so I don't know why that happened. I guess thankfully it happened right at the start of the match. Hopefully it doesn't happen again during the middle of the match, because that would be really bad. My opponent goes for a snowball, so this could be a few things. Maybe balloon cycle. Goes for minions too, so now I'm actually thinking this is either going to be Giant Graveyard or Lava Hound. There's a Lava Hound deck with Snowball right now. LumberLoon. Gonna go for an Xbow though to find out what my opponent has, and Giant comes down, so this is almost certainly gonna be Giant Graveyard. Gonna log this Giant back. Notice this perfect log timing right before the Giant's hit animation comes in. That is the timing you guys want to be going for with your logs, because it's going to be the perfect timing to maximize the value of your connection and the Xbow's damage, because right as the Giant's about to hit, you log it back. That applies to anything like a Hog Rider as well. Just be cognizant of your log timings. I wasn't before, but I am now. But it's single elixir. I'm going to outcycle his Giant here, go for an Xbow. Goes for Skarmy, and Witch as well, so now I can Fireball. I didn't have log and cycle. Goes for minions too. Now I'm definitely going to have to let this die, because I could have gone for archers, right? But it is single elixir, and my opponent's playing a beatdown kind of deck, Giant Graveyard. So if I went for archers there, he could have just ignored it, maybe taken another 500 or so damage. Then he would go for a Giant Graveyard at the bridge at 10 elixir opposite lane, and I would just lose right away. So, you know, I'm trying to push ladder, not trying to lose in the first 1 minute 30 seconds of the match, so that's why I didn't overcommit there. Now I can split archers though. My opponent cycles a snowball on my left tower, and also goes for arrows, so I'm going to go for an Xbow because he just spent 5 elixir worth of spells on my left side. Going to go Knight and Skellies, and he's not going to have snowball and cycle. So he goes for a Witch as well. Going to go for that perfect log timing again. Log this back, and Xbow's on the Witch as well. This should actually be a connection here. Goes for Skarmy, going to go E-Spirit to hopefully clean it up and get a lock. He's back to snowball, but I get a really nice connection. Going to go for an Xbow right away. Keep up the pressure because my opponent's probably low on elixir. Goes for a Dark Prince, so I can go for a Knight and DPS it down, and also tank for my Xbow as he is back to Giant. So I'm going for Knight Skellies like this, going to Fireball the minions and log this Giant back. That's actually going to be a huge influx of damage, and we actually do get a really nice connection for that now. But we're going to have to watch out since I want to keep up the pressure, but my opponent is probably going to catch on to it. Yep, as you can see, he predicts my Xbow with a Witch, which is why, I get it, which is why I went for a Tesla instead of an Xbow, because he's probably going to predict. When you start spamming Xbows like that, smart opponents will catch on and start predicting your Xbows. So you're going to have to start out-predicting them, and kind of, like, it becomes a game of layers, basically. But, gonna go Skellies, and my archers got taken out by the arrows, but that's fine. Back to a Tesla. And also, this is the placement I was talking about in the last match with E-Giant, where you want to play your Xbow to the inside if you want the Tesla in the middle to hit whatever's on your Xbow. If you play it the normal placement, it won't work, so this is the only placement that works. And he goes for a Giant in front. Just going to Fireball the Witch back. I can go for an E-Spirit after with all the Skellies. Going to Archers to predict the minions. Looks like he doesn't go for minions, but I can just go for Knight Skeletons on the graveyard. Don't even need Archers for them since there's really no tank in this push right now, and we get his tower down to under 1,000 damage. So going to keep up the pressure now. He might also respond to the Knight, as he does with the minions. And I'm going to go for a Tesla to help out with the minions and also help out against this Giant here. Going to go Knight to tank, and Tesla is on the Giant. Skellies to DPS and cycle back as well. Keep up the pressure. We did outcycle his Giant once again, so I'm just constantly applying pressure, constantly outcycling the Giant, and not letting him build up a big push. He's only gone for, I think, 1 graveyard push so far. Gonna log the Switchback and E-Spirit as well to hopefully get a connection. Looks like we don't, but I can go for Knight Skellies to DPS down the Giant. Notice how I'm going for these as early as possible. Gonna go for next one in the middle now, and Archers for the graveyard. Log this Dark Prince back right as the shield pops so that I maximize the value. Don't want to go log while the shield's still alive, since I'll just lose that value. And now I can actually just spell cycle. Don't need to keep going in, since I believe that is going to be 2 fireballs and 2 logs. Although I'm not going to instantly cycle back, I'm going to have to defend this push as well. Get a Knight down to DPS, go for a late log after everything is taken out, and E-Spirit too. E-Spirit's really nice, even though it only got 1 Skelly there. Really nice against Graveyard as kind of a mini log. And that's going to be a really nice win against Giant Graveyard. So probably one of my better matches I've played against it. I would say not an easy match for Xbow at all, but that's how I learned how to play it from Lemon Tree back in the day. Just keep up pressure, don't let them build up a big push, and you're going to do pretty good, though you have to be smart about it. So that's going to put us at 7,647 trophies, almost at top 1,000. And we are into our next match against Chino here from Family Nika. Gonna cycle skeletons first play. Pretty safe, standard play. Not really committing to anything. Gonna go E-Spirit, and he goes for skeletons, so could be a cycle deck. Just gonna split archers. Pretty safe play, covers both lanes. He goes for a queen, so skeletons queen. Could be bad news, we'll see. And he has the E-Barbs as well, so I'm gonna go for knight and skeletons. Heal Spirit, unfortunately, really heals up those E-Barbs, and he goes for a zap as well. But Xbow is still alive, hitting the queen right now, and I'm gonna log it back. And my opponent, if he went for the queen ability there, my Xbow would have locked on the tower, which it did. And we get a really nice connection. It's gonna go E-Spirit at the bridge, and I don't know what this is gonna be actually, because E-Barb's queen makes me think it's gonna be like, well, E-Barb's makes me think it's gonna be a heavier deck, like maybe Golem or Giant, although Giant E-Barbs is rare. But Archer Queen is a bit weird, so I'm gonna play it safe right now and cycle archers again. You know, covering both lanes, not really committing. And if my opponent leaks, I can go Xbow, even though I'm a bit worried it's going to be a beatdown deck because he's leaking. We'll go Xbow and see what he has. He's back to E-Barbs already somehow. And he goes for minions too. Going to fireball all this back, and E-Spirit hopefully to catch the E-Barb. He goes for a zap, and it gets taken out. So, E-Barbs, Skeletons, Heal Spirit, Minions, Zap, Archer Queen. Very interesting combination of cards right now, and I really don't know what it's going to be, because I would feel like it might be Goblin Giant, or even Golem, but then he has two cycle cards with the Skeletons and the Heal Spirit, so I have no idea. I mean, if it's going to be Golem Cycle, that'll be extremely scary. So again, just cycling archers, and he's going to go for a queen at the bridge, pretty aggressive. We can just go for a knight and log the queen back while it's in the ability. That's something you want to do, to waste time of the ability so that it doesn't get as much value. Anything that helps against that ability would be nice. Just going to cycle a Tesla in the middle now and see if my opponent's going to play into it. He goes for E-Barbs. So I'm going to go archers and skeletons to the side. Notice how I placed my skeletons so that the E-Barbs could not get healed by the Heal Spirit. It was out of range. And I'm going to go for an Xbow with these archers, and knight for the queen. Looks like it comes down a bit too late. My opponent is going to have Royale Hog. So it looks like, you know, I was a bit too aggressive there with my Xbow. I didn't have enough elixir for the knight in time. So I took a bit of damage there. I'm going to have to go Tesla and reset, and my opponent lets my knight get about 1,300 damage in the left, which is surprising. Just going to firewall all this back as they get closer. No need to mess around, especially because there's a Heal Spirit, and E-Barbs are pretty threatening. Go for an Xbow now, and looks like my opponent actually predicts my Xbow. So going to go E-Spirit, knight to hopefully reset the queen's targeting. It looks like my opponent actually... I'm going to have to give him the well played there, because he actually did predict me and outplay me there. But that's fine. Gonna have to reset, and again, gonna have to play more passively and kind of come back from this deficit right now. So gonna go archers to the right. Notice how I'm playing them to the right so that I can get back to an Xbow. Gonna go fireball E-Spirit. My pretty smart pressure of my opponent not letting me go in right away. I'm gonna wait on the Xbow because I don't want to get predicted again, of course. Gonna go Skellies and knight for this queen, and he goes for E-Barbs. Gonna have to let this go now. No point going archers at the bridge when they would just get one shot and I would have full health E-Barbs to deal with. So just gonna let it go and go for Tesla now. One archer survives, which will help out really nicely against these Royal Hogs. And I can go for an Xbow, maybe counter pushing. Well, he goes for queen, another standard play, just fireball the queen back. We don't even have to do anything else because my opponent didn't even pop the ability there. So he goes for a zap. Just gonna go knight in the left to kind of support against any kind of Royal Hogs or E-Barbs push. Now I'm actually going to defensive Xbow. Don't even need to offensive Xbow. We're going to go archers and actually log E-Spirit here instead of going for Tesla because, yeah, I had a feeling my opponent would predict. You know, there's a really annoying setup you can go for, and I'm going to cycle back to an Xbow here. But there's a really annoying setup you can go for with Xbow like that and Tesla in the middle, and my opponent was probably going to predict that setup, which is why I went without a Tesla there, so the fireball wouldn't get much value. And I'm going to defend this Xbow a bit, and looks like I get on tower. It's going to be a good game. I'm going to give him the well played as well, because my opponent definitely did play well. You know, he actually predicted me quite a lot and outplayed me, but I did counter. And plus 32 trophies, that's actually going to be quite a lot. And that's going to put us at top 1,000, 7679. So, top 1K right now. Let's try and go for one more. Alright, so let's go for the next match. One more and we will be at 7,700 trophies. We find a match against iPhone. I'm actually on Android, so this is kind of a battle of the smartphone brands, I guess. Not really, because that's not my name, but gonna cycle E-Spirit at the bridge. And my opponent activates with a Lumberjack. So Lumberjack is probably going to be either Golem, Lava Clone, or Lumberjack Balloon. Those are the most common Lumberjack decks right now. And he goes for a Baby Dragon too, so actually this could be Golem, which could be scary, because Golem Lightning, usually a pretty tricky matchup. But he actually goes for balloons. It's going to be LumberLoon. Just going to go for a low Tesla like this, 4 tiles down. And he goes for a freeze, just going to fireball it back. Fireball it into the middle so that my right side tower does that as well. You really want to be aware of your fireball angles. And Death Bomb unfortunately gets on, but that's fine. But yeah, you really want to be aware of your fireball angles when you use it. Because if I fireballed the balloon into my tower, for example, instead of away, could have maybe even taken a hit there. So be very aware of how you're using fireball. It's a bit tricky to master, but it'll work out a lot and pay off. So gonna go for archers here because my opponent's gonna have LumberLoon, which with Baby Dragon, so probably gonna be the bowler freeze variant. Gonna go Xbow now and try and force out something. And he actually goes for a P.E.K.K.A, so I'm gonna give him the WoW because I was not expecting P.E.K.K.A. Although I guess this is the Anaban balloon freeze deck from all that time ago. Goes for a Baby Dragon now. Gonna go Skellies, and I was hoping the Baby Dragon would lock on to the Xbow. Unfortunately, it hit the Skellies, so I don't get much of a connection there. But that's still okay. We've deduced what our opponent has, and we should actually have a pretty nice matchup here, because if my opponent is just playing freeze, usually Tornado with this deck too, it means they're not going to have a big spell. And I'm just going to go archers here. My finger slipped a bit. That's a bit low. Yep, Ewiz does unfortunately hit my tower. I can go for an Xbow now, though, because P.E.K.K.A's out of cycle. Goes for a Barbarrel and Balloon, so I'm going to let the balloon take my Xbow out, and then Tesla. No point overcommitting. And he's going to freeze, so I'm going to do the same fireball, into the middle. And hopefully we don't take death damage here. It looks like it won't. Yep, we don't take death damage there. So just going to go for a log for damage and go for an offensive Xbow now. Not sure the best way to play against P.E.K.K.A's in the back, but I feel like pressuring is always pretty good, since you don't just want to feed the P.E.K.K.A either. Archers to take out the Baby Dragon, and they will also stay alive to help out against this push. There's going to be some really nice fireball value if I can hit everything. So I'm going to go for that. And my opponent goes for a freeze, so I'm going to have to log this back. And I don't think I have to go for Skellies here. Well, it was getting pretty dicey, so I guess better to play it safe. But Balloon, thankfully, does not one-shot Tesla, so it's going to go down. And we have a damage lead, actually, by quite a bit here. So going to go Archers, and probably going to go for another push with this Lumberjack. Yep, there's the P.E.K.K.A. So this is going to be pretty tricky to defend again. A Baby Dragon's also pretty annoying here. Definitely just going to take the fireball value on everything. Log is back as well, and go low Archers. This is actually getting pretty tricky now because Lumberjack's on tower. Gonna go Skellies to make sure the Barbarrel doesn't hit my tower. Looks like we're actually down in damage now, but that's still okay. We're gonna go for an Xbow to pressure, and my opponent still doesn't have any big spells, remember, so we can still come back from this. It's not the end of the world, for sure. Gonna go Tesla and Knight to protect my Tesla, and E-Spirit to kite this P.E.K.K.A out of Xbow range, possibly. Looks like it just barely wasn't enough, unfortunately for me, but I can go for another Xbow in the middle now, because I should have a pretty decent setup with the Tesla still alive. As he goes for an Ewiz, and actually, maybe it wasn't the best Xbow because my opponent can just go Balloon right on top. I kind of forgot that. But I hope this doesn't get death damage here. It's definitely not going to. That's way too far away. Triple Elixir now. I guess I don't need a connection. I can also just Spell Cycle. So, I'm gonna go Knight, and I'm probably gonna have to get another nice Fireball here because Baby Dragon is just so annoying for Xbow to deal with. I'm sure you guys can relate when all you have is Archers to deal with it. Gonna go Tesla off to the right now because my opponent played the Balloon kind of in the middle, and so I don't want to take any damage. Gonna go Xbow to keep up pressure, and my opponent actually cycles the Baby Dragon, which I would say is a mistake because Lumberjack also, and I get a connection right now. Gonna have to defend now with my life, but yeah, my opponent just spent 8 Elixir, which means he won't have enough for a P.E.K.K.A, which is why I went for the Xbow, and it worked out really well. So I'm gonna Fireball everything back. Definitely gonna have to avoid any kind of connection to my tower now at all costs. Gonna cycle Log and go for a Knight very high so that if my opponent NATOs as he does, so won't be able to hit my tower. And it looks like we were able to win just by the skin of our teeth, 270 or so, 264 HP, and we get a really nice win against the Anaban Balloon Freeze deck. Plus 32 again, so I don't know why I'm getting so many high trophies, but that's going to be a really nice win. That's going to put us at 7,711 trophies, top 900 in the world, with 3.0 Xbow Cycle, no need for Archer Queen. So yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed the ladder push today. 4 really nice games. I really liked the Giant Graveyard game in particular. I feel like it was a really good example of how to play that matchup, but hopefully it was able to help you out. Let me know if you enjoyed the video. Take care, and I will see you in the next one.